If you're managing a personal project that no one else will work on, you have all the tools you need to manage your project in Git. You can commit your changes, use branches to keep your workflow clean, and merge your branches when you're done. We're still missing a pretty big part of the picture though, and that's the ability to work with remote repositories. But what is a remote repository and how do you interact with it? Let's walk through a quick example. Let's say that you've been working on your project for a while, and you've built up a pretty solid history for it. There are a lot of commits, probably a few different branches. You decide to share your work with someone else so that they can help you get the project finished. They can't work in your repository. Remember that it's on your computer, and they'll need access to it on their own workstation in order to be effective. What they can do is create a copy of your repository on their own computer. In Git terminology, this is called cloning a repository. Now, you both have copies of the same repository on your computer, and you both set to work. You work on finishing up a set of tasks, and your new partner is working on some other to-do items that need attention. Along the way, you're both observing good Git practices. You're committing often, using branches appropriately, etc. But now you've both created different project histories. You've got one set of commits and branches on your machine, and your partner has another set of commits and branches on theirs. How can we bring the two together? Much like you can merge history between branches in a single repository, you can also merge history between different copies of the same repository. In Git, this is performed by either pushing your changes to a remote repository or pulling changes from a remote repository to your local copy. This may sound simple, and it is, but it's also a really powerful idea that lends itself easily to many different team sizes and project management philosophies. In some cases, people will manage their projects in a way that exemplifies the decentralized nature of Git, people pushing and pulling each other's histories as needed. Some other projects will try to bring some order into the system by establishing one remote repository, often hosted on a server somewhere, as the central repository. This central repository acts as the official version of the code, and people working on these projects are in the habit of routinely pushing to and pulling from that central repository in order to ensure that their work is in sync with the rest of the project team. Working with remote repositories is an integral part of working on any sufficiently large project. After all, if you can't share your work with the rest of the team, how are you going to get anything done? We'll walk through the steps you need to perform in order to work with remote repositories in Git in a few minutes. But first, let's review some of these concepts.